not even being funny, but I'm so close to throwing the towel in today. Absolutely up against it. There's 5 days to go. I don't even have time to stop and eat. It's good pizza. The place is just a mess again. I'm tripping over cables. I'm not tidying it up because I'm not finished about 18 jobs on the car. Still got my rear suspension solid mount arms to put together. I'm waiting on new bolts arriving for them because I didn't have the right size bolts. So it's like one of those jobs you start, you can't finish. It's in the middle of it. You can't put it in away till you're done. Bolts should be here tomorrow, and then, you know, I can find out if it all goes together properly. I mean, literally 5 days to go. There's just no time, and I'm frantically trying to get everything done. Been pushing hard for the last 3 months now, but it really comes down to this last 5 days. I've just about had it though. I literally have just about had it. I think if I didn't have all of you guys follow me right now, knowing the disappointment I would create, not just for myself, but for everybody else who's been following this project and not see it finished, I would definitely have given up by now. So if you are following, thank you. You're following. Just kept me going. Just relax. It'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. Inbound rear brake calipers. A fantastic design, absolutely brilliant. Reduces the unsprung weight in the rear axle or the wheels, or I don't even know. But to work on them, an absolute beep. And every single job in this car has been a nightmare. Nothing, and I mean nothing, has just went on as it should have done. And oh, this is my rear suspension arms just dangling there. The bolts don't fit. Oh, look at the lens of the camera. It's covered in welding scratches, so it's basically knackered. I've still got to wire up my ECU, put my injectors in. I don't even know if they fit. I've still got to get the car mapped. I've still got to get the front end aligned. I've still got to do my whole cooling system, not just reinstall the existing parts. Everything is new on it, which means I don't know if any of it fits, because it's for an engine which doesn't belong in this car. I've still got to maybe, you know, drive it on a test run somewhere, probably to South Queensferry for leaving day. Oh, is that finally on? Oh my god, is it? Yes! Relief. It doesn't help that every part I've upgraded or changed or modified in some way. Nothing that's going back on as a standard part. Like this prop shaft has been changed. This rear subframe has been modified. It's also being mounted solidly instead of on rubbers. I just drop that. Right, good, well done Jaguar, well done. What to do is put that there, that way nobody will ever be able to get to it. Ever. Shoddy. Gonna have a little sleep here. So here we are with 2 days to go. 1 hour, 5 minutes and 27 seconds. And today we are flat out and I have some extra help. Howell's helping today. As always, Dad's helping.
Hello everybody.
Fuel system's nearly in and done.
Not long to go now.
That's done.
I admire everyone's confidence who constantly tell us, it's okay, you'll be fine, you'll make it.
Yeah,
what do they know that we don't know?
Do they really know?
If only.
Alan's helping too. He's my brother. And engines in, inlet manifolds are on. The engine's been in for a while, to be fair. Well, actually the engine's been in for about 3 days, which is a while. Inlet manifolds have just been bolted on, thanks to Howell. Alan done the plug leads. Next, I've got the radiator which turned up. Power steering pump, I need to modify some stuff in the engine bay. I'm about to start the mammoth task of wiring up the ECU. That's the whole wiring loom for the engine because there was nothing here engine related since the engine was carbureted, so it didn't need any electronic other than a couple of senders. So that task begins now. Honestly, I have no idea if it's going to be ready or not. The next sort of 48 hours are going to be really, really interesting. So, back to it. Well, we're getting there. I'm in the middle of the mammoth task of wiring all the ECU and ignition wiring. 1 day, 21 hours to go. Cutting a bit close to the main fuse box for the car. The ECU's under there, it's an Emerald ECU. John and Dave from Emerald have been very helpful keeping me right with that. Got my switch panel there, it's all the switches to control everything. Got my laptop set up so I can connect to the ECU and check all the sensors are working. It's really close to my face, isn't it? I should move back a bit. Guide for the wiring. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, there's wires everywhere. Still got to wire up the fuel pump and the boot, but the fuel system's done. See, that's what I like. I like nice things like that. Ignore the toilet flushy pipe. Got the pedals, throttle cables in, brakes are all bled now, clutch is working. I got the logbook back from DVLA today. Thank you, DVLA. Checked the amount of previous owners and it was 1. So it's had 1 owner since new until, what, 2-3 weeks ago. The car was last on the road in 1984. So actually, if the original owner of this car is out there, or family of the original owner, we'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure you would love to see what's happened to your beautiful Jaguar Mark 10, which has been injected fuel injected with new life. It really is down to tonight. The car has to be running tonight because that will leave me with 1 day. That's 1 day to get it MOT'd and mapped on the dyno all in 1 day. So if it's run tonight, tomorrow is going to be a very, very busy day. We were here till 2 AM last night, or just today, should I say. I really want to get it done. There's so many people following, there's so much attention about this car, and we've all put so many hours into it to not get it done, and to see it so close to being completed, for whatever reason it's not ready. It's going to be something small and stupid which just doesn't let the car run. To not have it running on the Sahara trip but get it so close is going to be so frustrating. So it's really all hinging on the next 24 hours. So I shouldn't really be spending time talking to the camera, and I should be getting on with this. So I'm going to do that now. Thank you for all the support though, the amazing amount of support on Facebook. I'm actually blown away. So I think when we get back we're going to do a Mark 10 tour and visit everybody. Words just can't explain how hard we'd all worked to get to this point. It really wasn't just me though. Towards the end of the build, it was my dad, my brother, and my good friend Howell giving up solid days and nights. And at this point, the basic necessities in life like eating, getting enough sleep had all taken a back seat, just so I could cram in all my time to the Mark 10. So it's really no surprise that I forgot to turn the mic on for the next few shots, meaning I had absolutely no audio. In fact, the massive task of filming and editing this whole video series was becoming so difficult to keep on top of whilst I was in the thick of the whole build. My brother even noticed I was struggling for time to move the cameras about and started doing it for me, even though he wasn't clued up on how to use them. The pressure was beyond immense. Almost 3 months of intense restoration and modification work to the Mark 10 had passed. A task that would take most people 3 years to complete. But we'd got there in just 3 months, and up till this point I hadn't even heard the car run or seen it drive. Few people will ever know what really went into this build and the toll that it took on me. I tried relentlessly to get it to start that night, but it just would not fire. Part of me wasn't surprised though, as I'd wired up the whole loom for the ECU, having only had a few hours sleep the night before. I knew it would be something simple, but I really needed some help to narrow it down quickly. What I needed was to speak to John at Emerald, who is the man for mapping Jaguar V12. I gave up for the night, slept a few hours, and was back the following morning. This was it, with just 20 hours to go. I mean 20 hours until the Mark 10 had to beat the start line of one of the greatest car rallies ever, and I still had to MOT it, finish the build, wrap up all the organisation for the rally. It was just absolutely unreal, but honestly, giving up just wasn't an option. The Mark 10 had to start, and I was taking it to the Sahara Desert one way or another. Is that there maybe?
Yeah, got that. Cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll just hold it there.
Yeah. I'll plug it back in, please. Okay, and try again.
Okay. we've just got the car started for the first time ever. It's the first time this car's had a running engine since 1984. And just spoke to the guy at the MOT station, that's Alan, and he said he's going to hang on because he's supposed to close like 2-3 hours ago. He's going to hang on for 1 more hour to get this car MOT'd so we can drive to the start line for Rust to the Sahara in 20 hours. So we've got 1 hour to put all the cooling system together, tidy up all the cabling, put the bonnet on, run it and run the exhaust and run it enough with the base map that's on the ECU to get it down to the MOT station so we can get our MOT, so we can get to the start line for tomorrow. Forgetting the drive to the Sahara, that's not important right now. So, all hands on deck. Well, this is a very special moment. I have here in my hand something that I really did not ever think that I would see. An MOT certificate for the Mark 10. We literally threw the car together last minute, threw the bonnet on it, threw some water in it, even though it's leaking out, jumped in it and drove down here to the MOT station and now have an MOT with something like 16 or 17 hours to go. So, looks like we might actually make it. So that was incredible. I've just made it back from the MOT station with a pass. I actually can't believe it. Well, I kind of can because everything's new, but yeah, it passed. And now we've just got a whole pile of work to do to refine the car, finish it and get it ready for the Sahara in 16 hours, 26 minutes, 51 seconds. We've had to make a wee hole in the bonnet from the radiator because it didn't fit. And we now have a V12.
You lost the clutch.
I haven't lost it though, completely.
So
it's
what, you're just leaking fluid?
It's leaking, yeah.
But Alan again.
We've got a load of work to do, so I'm going to crack on with that. Starting with stickers. This new Mark 10 Rustrom needs a brand, it needs its name, needs its flagship on it. From here, the Mark 10 went straight back onto the ramp and it was all hands on deck, 15 hours to go. Everybody was doing something. Dad was trying to tidy up the oil cooler pipes that ran from the engine to the engine oil cooler. My brother was very carefully measuring out and cleaning up the doors to put the stickers on. He actually had to rub mould with sandpaper off of the doors just to get them to stick because there was no way they were sticking to all the grime that was built up on the Mark 10 over the last 35 years. I was inside the car trying to get all the instruments to work that I could. At this stage we still had very limited electrics in the car. There was no gauges working whatsoever, so I just wanted to see if I could get the temperature gauge to work or the oil pressure. They were my two sort of main gauges that I wanted. We still had no oil dipstick. That was a big problem in itself. And Dad was tidying up the brake lines as well because the lines were actually hitting the wheels, especially when we were cornering.
And then from there we had to do something with the exhaust because we had a very temporary exhaust, so ended up using a bit of Flexi, universal Flexi exhaust pipe from the manifold that I'd built, and just have it exiting right out the side on the left hand side of the car into two, I think it was an old XJS exhaust, and we just merged the two pipes into one. It was pretty basic, but it done the job just to muffle the sound a little bit. I was absolutely exhausted. I remember being inside the car at one point and actually nearly falling asleep, and I thought, oh, I can't fall asleep, not now. And then we had 8 hours to go. I was still in the workshop. My dad had went back home, Howell had left, Dave had left, and it was just my brother and myself working. And then I had to call it. I needed to go get some rest and wrap up some of the bookings. My brother stayed right on till I came back in the morning. At 8 in the morning, my brother was still there. However, at this stage, the Mark 10 was actually ready to go to the Sahara, or so we thought.